gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's June the 28th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day presented by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, I thought before we get to the breaking news of the day, we'd shake things up a little bit this morning. And there was, at the Legends Camp on Saturday, just an absolutely heartwarming story. It was very emotional. In some ways, it was difficult to watch play out. And then it kind of transformed into an amazing moment for a young man, for Mario Cristobal, for the University of Miami football program. So I thought we'd start today's show talking a little bit about that. And that, of course, is the story of a young man by the name of Kobe Howard. And Kobe is a 2025 recruit from Pensacola. And he came to the camp to put himself on the radar with Miami coaches. Miami's one of the schools he really likes. And he is well aware that Josh Gaddis has sent a lot of wide receivers to the National Football League through these stages of his coaching career. And Kobe wants to be one of the next ones. And he came to the camp. He's a young kid. He's going to be a sophomore in high school. And he's going against older kids. And it didn't matter. He was bound and determined in these one-on-one drills at the Legends Camp that he was going to make sure that he got noticed by the coaches. So the one-on-one workouts were progressing normally, and then there was a play, and the quarterback drops the pass. I can't remember who the quarterback was. It was very chaotic out there. A lot of people watching, and it was a deep post that Kobe ran, and the quarterback threw the ball perfectly. I mean, the pass was right on the money. Kobe went up to catch it. The DB, and I'm not sure who the DB was, I'm sorry about that too, goes and makes a play on the ball, and he lands on top of Kobe and right on his leg. And you immediately could tell something was wrong. It was just one of those moments where you could just see that something wasn't right when they landed on the ground. And as it turned out, Kobe lied there motionless and in an enormous amount of pain. He had a broken tibia in his leg, and the emotions of the moment, you never want to see an athlete get hurt, but to see this young 10th grade kid get hurt at the Legends Camp, which was such a special day with all the former players out there and all the, a lot of the best recruits and athletes in South Florida out there competing and having fun, to see this young Kobe go down with and nobody knew if it was an ACL or whatever. But the paramedics were working on him for several minutes, and Mario Cristobal went over there and was treating Kobe like Kobe was his own son. And there was a lot of emotion. Kobe's dad was crying and visibly, upset and emotional at everything that was taking place. And finally, they got him secured. They put one of those air casts on his leg. Fortunately, the Lennar Center is right around the corner over there from the field, and they were able to get him very quickly over for medical care. But as he was leaving, getting in the hospital, by now he's on pain medication, and Mario Cristobal went up to him as he was getting put into the ambulance and offered him a scholarship to be a football player for the University of Miami. And man, I tell you, it makes me emotional just talking about it, because what a gesture by Mario in that moment, that's what he was thinking about. He's got 12 official visitors on campus. He's got hundreds of recruits at the Legends camp, and it came to his mind, I am going to go offer Kobe Howard a scholarship, even though he still has three years of high school football left. And I'm going to go offer him a scholarship to Miami. And he did. And Matt, I know you agree because we talked about it, but what a gesture by Mario.
Yeah, and this is a very, very young recruit. And I don't think he really understood that what Mario Cristobal did was unusual. I told him this isn't normal. There are players I've seen on past teams at Miami that get hurt like that and go to the hospital and they get checked in on, but maybe the next day. Certainly not a young recruit when the stakes are so high in a head coach's first year trying to turn on a program when you have over 30 top recruits, including the unofficial visitors, waiting for you on campus. Very unusual. And I did explain it to him. I'm still not sure if he really understood the enormity of what Mario Cristobal did and how Mario Cristobal made this personal. This was nothing was more important to Mario Cristobal than making sure this young man was okay. And that's not normal. That's not normal for a college coach, where it's supposed to all be about business and you perform on the field or else, that sort of thing. And it's great to see. And I also learned something from Kobe Howard. I guess everyone else knows this. I'm the only one who doesn't, but Pensacola's in a different time zone.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know that. I mean, I guess I guess I'm the idiot. Who didn't know that?
Yeah, it is. It's over on the northwest corner of the state. But I thought it would be kind of cool to get this story from Kobe Howard's eyes. So we invited him to join us this morning on Good Morning CaneSport. So let's welcome Kobe Howard into the show. Kobe, welcome to Good Morning CaneSport. Man, that was I'm watching those one-on-one drills at the Mario Cristobal Legends Camp on Saturday. You're a young guy going against older kids. You're balling out. You're showing what you got, and then there was the one play that the ball was right on the money. You went up to get it. The DB tried to went to make a play on the ball, and he landed on top of you, and immediately all of us watching, like, you could just sense that something awkward had happened, and I guess he landed on your leg in a weird way, but why don't you tell us from your perspective what you remember from that moment?
I remember I was running the route, and I mean, the QB, I think he led me more, so I didn't have to jump up for the ball. But I mean, it happens. I fell for the ball. I looked at my leg, and it was twisted to the right. I was confused, but my adrenaline, I didn't really feel any pain until a couple minutes after, and then got to the ambulance and got to the hospital, and they said that I had broke my tibia, and they had to straighten my leg out. I didn't get surgery. They just gave me a cast because they didn't want to mess with my growth spurt. They were going to put a rod in my leg, but they didn't. They didn't want to mess with my growth plate, so I'm still growing. So I just got a cast. I could take it off in 6 weeks, and I'll be back at it in 3 to 4 months.
So obviously this will impact you for this season, but the thing that makes this, I mean, there's never anything good when an athlete like yourself gets hurt, but the thing that makes this a heartwarming story in a way is that you came to the camp looking to prove yourself, and in the time that you were out there, you did prove yourself, and on the way to getting your leg fixed at the Lennar Center, you found out that Mario Cristobal was going to give you a scholarship offer to Miami. And obviously nothing could mask the pain, but tell us what went through your head at that moment.
Well, it was very exciting when he offered, but when the time he gave me the offer, they had me on like stop the pain, and so I really can't remember what was on the moment. But I remember him just saying that I had an offer, and he told me that I didn't get the offer just because I was in the hospital or I hurt. He told me I hurt scholarship.
Yeah, well, Kobe still hasn't taken off his Legends shirt from the camp, which is good to see. And for the fans watching this that haven't read the story yet, I talked with Kobe before this video was shot yesterday, and he basically said Miami's his front runner. And I also talked to his dad, and they were both so impressed with Mario Cristobal. And I mean, when I was talking with Kobe, I don't think he was that emotional talking to me, but I was actually a little emotional talking to him because I've done this a long time. And it's pretty rare. Kobe probably doesn't realize it's rare. He's very young. But it's pretty rare, Kobe, for a head coach who has 12 official visitors on campus, who has, I think he estimated over 20 key unofficial visitors on campus. He left campus for you, man. He left campus for you to check on you. He could have just called you a week later, 2 weeks later, said, hey, you have a Miami offer. But he didn't do that. He went to the hospital. He ran up to you in the ambulance. He said, I'm going to see you in the hospital. Went over to the hospital, left all those top recruits in the country in the class of 2023, 2024, and 2025 behind. Went to your hospital bed, spent 20 minutes with you and your father, explained to you had the offer, said how bad he feels for you. And your dad also said how appreciative he was. You both were super appreciative. It's a neat moment. It's not a moment that, believe it or not, happens at every school or every time a student athlete gets hurt. I've seen college student athletes get hurt that are on a team where the coach won't get to see them in the hospital until the next day or the day after. So, I mean, that's pretty special.
I really appreciate him doing that. I mean, the Miami coaching staff, they showed a lot of love during my injury. And like you said, they are on the top of my list right now because, how they were showing love, whatever. And Coach Gaddis, I'm trying to get under his wing because of the receivers he put in the league and all. So, yeah, they're definitely at the top of my list right now. I'd say they're number one.
Have you ever been hurt before?
I've had minor injuries, but nothing big like this.
So I imagine in your mind, you're like, I'm going to come back stronger, faster, better. Is that what's going through your head right now?
Sure, that's definitely the plan. I think I'm going to start in mid-season and then just take off from there. They said 6 weeks in the cast, and then I rehab and stuff. And then really, whenever I feel like playing, I'm going to wait till mid-season to start playing.
All right. I want to just take a moment here. We've got the picture from the hospital visit. Sorry for putting it over you, Matt. But
of course you put it over me, Gary. Of course.
I can't control that. But
yeah, right.
So there you are, Kobe. You're in your hospital bed where nobody wants to be, and Mario's there by your side. He's holding your hand. He's pointing at you. And I got to believe that that's a picture that you're going to cherish for a long time.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
You have a couple years before you commit to a college, and a lot of schools will be recruiting you between now and then. But from talking to you, it sounded like that Miami is obviously going to be very much in the forefront of your mind because of the experience that you had there in a very tough moment for anybody. And your family too. Like, I was watching your dad. Your dad was very emotional. I'm a dad. Matt's a dad. You never want to see your son get hurt playing ball. I mean, playing ball is what kids are supposed to be able to do. And but you could tell it was a very emotional moment for your whole family. That sounds like it's going to impact a lot of things potentially in your life here moving forward.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's just a little bit of adversity. Everybody goes through adversity. It's just how I come back off of it. I'm planning to come back off of it strong, like it never happened.
I want to tell you, Kobe, that just to reiterate what an unusual story it is. And I know it's not a good thing that you got hurt, but I have a feeling 3 or 4 months from now, you'll be 100% better. You'll be running around the field as good as ever. And a few years from now, as you have perspective on recruiting, after every top school in the country has offered you a scholarship, as you have perspective, you'll realize how unusual it is that a head coach left his major official visit weekend of June to go and visit you in the hospital and spend some time with you. And I look forward to that moment when you sort of can look back and really understand what this was all about and what it meant for him to actually do that. And also, from your perspective, I look forward to covering your recruitment. You're young. You haven't even really started your recruiting process, so you don't really know what it's all about yet. I know you have a bunch of offers, but it's going to get hectic. So look forward to covering you during your recruitment, and just best wishes for a speedy recovery.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we'll have you back during the season to get an update on how you're doing. So get well quick, Kobe. Thanks for joining us today. All right, Matt. Well, just a heartwarming story, and I'm glad that we were able to have Kobe join us on the show today. All right, we have so much other news of the day to discuss here today, but first, let's hear from our friends at LifeWallet.
Hi, I'm Nigel Pack, and when I decided to come to Miami, I knew I had to pack, including my LifeWallet. But you know what else I'm going to pack this upcoming season? I'm going to pack the house. But today, I'm going to stand here and make another trade.
The feed to Pack. He throws another. Give it to him. His third from the corner pocket. When he was persistent. Nigel Pack again.
Never leave your home without your LifeWallet. Saving time, saving lives.
All right, another guy, Matt, I think is gonna pack the house, who's gonna be a very exciting athlete at Miami, is Nathaniel Ray Joseph, and he announced last night that he will be announcing his commitment this evening at 6:00, and we've made it pretty clear we expect that to be to the University of Miami. And your thoughts just on how quickly this entire recruitment has come full circle with the decommitment from Clemson, the courtship with Miami, and now with it heading towards a likely commitment to the Hurricanes.
Well, I'm just happy for him. He was so upset when Miami just wouldn't recruit him with the prior staff. And it was just a matter of time. We've been saying it forever. He's going to come here. I mean, I'm not going to ruin the kid's announcement. I'm sure it'll be a big shock to everyone when he announces where he's going. But I also did want to share something for people on, because we talked about Jaden Rashada and his dad, going radio silence. And that was very frustrating, because we've covered top quarterbacks every single time it happens at Miami. We've never had an issue with a recruit or his dad, major quarterbacks, honestly, that we're considering Miami. I mean, that's just the truth. And it's a different era. Look, it is. But I do want to thank Jalen and his dad, Harlan, because they actually reached out to me the night he committed and said, apologies for the silence, my man. So we've mended the bridges, and not that there were any bridges to be mended, honestly. I mean, I root for anybody who's a Hurricane, whether they want to talk to the media or not. I mean, we had a recruit who I covered. It was a long, long time ago, but who was it? It was wasn't it the linebacker Williams who wouldn't do interviews or would only do them in the helmet or something crazy, right? Am I wrong?
I can't remember who it was.
Well, yeah, there's a linebacker who wouldn't do interviews, was top rated. Not Leon. Who was it? There was one of them. It'll come to me. I don't want to cast aspersions, but we've had a lot of recruits who just aren't comfortable talking. And I don't want to make people think that's not the case with Jaden. Jaden's a very well-spoken young man. He's outspoken. He's a leader. He's not quiet. Just in this particular case, he didn't really want to talk to the media, and he's still not talking to the media because of the whole NIL fiasco stuff that's going on. But he's not quiet or shy like some of these other recruits are sometimes that don't talk. So I don't want people to like read into it that, oh, he's not going to be a leader or a vocal leader. He's very much so a vocal leader from everyone I've talked to. And I'm looking forward to covering him. That's what I told the family. I said, listen, I'm looking forward to covering. I said, I'm looking forward to covering him for the next year until he transfers to the highest bidder. That's what I told them. And they were very appreciative. So, we're going to go from there.
It's a bad subject, Matt. One of the stories we have on the website is actually, from yesterday. But
it was DJ. It was DJ Williams. That's what I thought. It wasn't
DJ
Williams.
Williams.
It was DJ Williams who would talk with the helmet on, right? I'm not crazy.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure that's
but,
what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember. But anyway, so a story comes out, and the attorney that's representing Jaden Rashada started speaking all out of school about the NIL deal that he perceives that he's putting together for Jaden Rashada. And I'm not gonna try to judge if he's telling the truth, not telling the truth, who's right, who's wrong, whatever. But basically, that deal can't be done yet. And John Ruiz has been very consistent with us, and we can only take him at his word, because his word, in the whole time I've known John Ruiz, I've never even come close to suspecting that he wasn't telling the truth. He's always told the truth. And he said he has not engaged with Jaden Rashada's camp as of yet, because he has to wait till Jaden Rashada commits to Miami and comes and enrolls in school. And he said he will offer him an NIL deal. He wants LifeWallet to be involved with Jaden Rashada, but that it's premature to do so. So something went haywire in the process, and we ended up with the Gator Collective involved, ripping the attorney. We ended up with John Ruiz denying what the attorney was saying to a reporter. The whole thing was a crap show, to be quite honest. I'm not going to try to sort it out. Hopefully everything comes out okay in the wash. There's a huge market for quarterbacks in NIL. It's no secret. Jaden Rashada is one of the top quarterbacks in the country, is going to get a great NIL deal. He's going to have a great NIL situation. But beyond that, I think right now the whole thing is best just left alone, because there's no point trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong, and what's in the middle. But there's a story on the website that kind of brings everybody up to date on that.
Yeah. Well, I will. Am I allowed to add something? I know fans.
Yeah.
We got a lot of complaints from people. Why are you talking about NIL? Yesterday, NIL is a story in recruiting. Like, I'm sorry, guys, we're not going to not talk about it and just say how great it is Jaden Rashada picked Miami because Mario Cristobal and Josh Gaddis were so amazing. Like, NIL is part of everyone's equation now. You have, like, fans don't want us to say it, but it is part of the equation that recruits will consider, have to consider, because it's their family. You know, they're taking care of people in their family sometimes. But with that said, I did do some digging, and just in general terms, okay? What I found out was interesting, because it turns out that once a recruit signs, as we know, they're allowed to start negotiating and signing NIL deals. And what I found out is apparently a lot of the lawyers / agents are realizing, and I'm not sure if the schools are involved or not, but that whoever's giving them the money doesn't want them to leave. So in other words, let's face it, these are boosters. Okay, I'm sorry, these are boosters who are paying players. It's legal. It's legal for boosters to pay players as long as they have a company. Like, that's not illegal. And by virtue, boosters don't want to pay a player who's just going to leave after he becomes great to go to another program. And I mentioned yesterday how if you're a good agent, every year put your player in the free market and see what he gets. So it turns out, from what I learned yesterday, which is interesting, that they're starting to have these players sign contracts with clauses that punish them if they leave the program, which is smart, from a booster side. And as an example, I was given, let's say a player gets an upfront amount of money, and then they get paid every month thereafter to basically do whatever they're supposed to do, whether that's shoot one ad a month or send out one tweet a week or whatever is deemed appropriate. Okay, they have to fulfill that. They get paid X amount of money for that as well. And if they leave for another program, whether it's after 6 months, a year and a half, whatever, these clauses apparently are generally saying if they leave, they have to pay back a portion of the initial money. And I don't know if it's a de-escalating over time or not, but a portion of that. And generally, they're also saying if you leave, you have to pay back all of the money you've made on a monthly basis after from day one until you leave. And that's going to prohibit perhaps this crazy free agency that I was fear-mongering about yesterday. So maybe the grass is greener and the sky is bluer than I thought a day ago in terms of this being a total free agency disaster every single year. But the other piece that I want to just bring up really quickly, because I know fans are like bored with this stuff, But it's just a matter of time before a program gets in trouble when somebody decides they're not happy. Not a player, but maybe a lawyer, maybe an agent decides, I've been thrown under the bus, I've had it, screw these guys. And maybe they have an email trail, maybe they have a text message trail, I don't know, maybe they have recordings, and they go to the NCAA with this. Whatever that program is, if there's a coach on that text chain, if there's a coach from that school on that email chain saying, yeah, well, we got this money in place for him through whatever company, you can't do that. And that program, the NCAA is going to make an example of. And I just pray it's not Miami and it's not, this lawyer who's apparently lying about everything to people. And, I don't think it will be, but it's just a matter of time. The NCAA wants to make an example of somebody.
This lawyer's trouble. I mean, he's self-promoting himself at the expense of other people, including the kids he's representing. And I get it. He's caught up in his celebrity. He wants everybody to know he's getting all these big deals for all his players that he's representing and all that. But you got to use some discretion. And this was a real mess that he created for Florida and Miami by saying the things he's saying. And, we don't know what's true or what's not true, like I said, but I do know that what he did was wrong. And here's what can't happen. What can't happen is the NCAA announces they're investigating Miami because of this. If that happens, it would be a disaster. And if they do that, I hope Miami doesn't respond with that same tepid response they had the last time the NCAA came down to talk to John Ruiz for nothing, just to pick his brain, okay? I hope Miami's proactive. I hope Miami's prepared, because the NCAA would love nothing better than to stick it to Miami. And, even though there's nothing there, all the NCAA I've communicated several times with John Ruiz in the last 24 to 48 hours, really longer when it came to the subject. And he is adamant that he has not entered into any negotiations with anybody representing Jaden Rashada. He made it very clear to me that he will want to do an NIL deal with Jaden Rashada down the road, because Jaden Rashada has value to LifeWallet, but he is adamant that has not yet taken place. So that's what he's going to tell anybody that inquires about it.
It's like the code of silence for every program. Listen, we're talking about Miami. The person I talked to said every top recruit, every single school is breaking the NCAA rules. Every school. So, it's like when you're driving on the highway, the speed limit's 55, but everyone's going 70. Are you going to go 55? Well, if you're Gary and you're 80 years old, yeah. But for the average person, no. You're going to go 75 like everyone else. Everybody's doing the same thing. It would be wrong for the NCAA to pick out one school and make an example of, whether it's Alabama, which it certainly will be, or Miami, which they would never bother with Miami. But you get my point. This is not something where anyone's doing anything wrong, because everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. There's gray spaces in the doctrine, and they're trying to take advantage of it. Like, every school's doing it, and until the NCAA figures out what should happen or what they want to happen, they should just be letting this go and just have it as a total free agency, free for all, whatever you want to call it, until they get their act together.
And there is a fine line there. I mean, but if this agent is really representing Jaden Rashada, which I believe he probably is, or he wouldn't be running his mouth the way he is. But I mean, it's within his scope of responsibility to introduce himself to the players and say, hey, I'm representing Jaden Rashada, and when I will, and if he wants to do it above board, and I'm not going to suggest that everybody does, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying if he wanted to do it above board, all you have to say is, when the time comes, I will be in touch with you. Is there anything you can tell me about the parameters and type of things that you work under? And then, John Ruiz theoretically could say to him, no, it depends on the individual player, but I can promise you I'm always fair. And that's it. Done. It's like, it was being put out there that he was already taking significantly less money, supposedly, than he was being offered by, say, Florida or whatever. So, I mean, it's not necessarily a bidding war or whatever. So like I said, we don't know what's happened or what's not happened. All we know is what was being told to us. And I've always found John Ruiz to be very honest about these things. Almost to a fault. And he says that he has not been engaged at all on NIL with Jaden Rashada, and I think that is the story from the LifeWallet viewpoint. So we'll see what happens from there. All right, Matt, let's shift gears here. There's another pretty cool story developing with a defensive end, Collins Achimapong. Man, I'll tell you, we were eyeballing him out at the Legends camp the other day. Let me tell you something. This kid, he looks like a young Greg Rousseau. I mean, tall as can be, athletic looking as can be. You could just see the potential that this guy has. He's from California. Now, coming into the visit, I think you and I would agree that Miami wasn't necessarily considered at the forefront of his recruitment. But exiting the visit, and you had the opportunity to speak to him, the story is on the website this morning. Now it's looking the exact opposite. It's looking like Miami's got a real chance to land his commitment.
Yeah, he said Miami offered him a $5 million NIL deal, and he is going to take it. So, listen, he came into this visit, and I was pretty sure he was going to go to Michigan, just from everything I'd been hearing from everybody around him. But this visit, it just opened his eyes, and he sees the potential because Miami needs defensive linemen. Miami has Jason Taylor helping. Miami has 2 defensive line coaches. He knows he'll be developed, and he felt comfortable, and his family felt comfortable. So I think my understanding is he left the visit with Miami a slight favorite, but you know how that goes. You go home, you think about it. He's announcing July 1st. This could go either way. I think Miami feels good about getting him, but we've seen this go either way. So I'm not really comfortable. I think I put it maybe at a 65% chance or something like that on the message board. Like, you know, and that's going to keep going down. And it'll probably, if it's 51% come July 1st, I'll take it, you know. So Miami's just got to hang on and stay above 50%, 50.1% on July 1st. And that's going to be good enough.
All right. That's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. Hope you guys have enjoyed these different segments of the show and enjoyed the story of Kobe Howard. Just that was, I thought, an interesting one to tell this morning. So thanks for starting your day with us. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. We'll see you next time, everybody.